Maybe what we could do is when we get started here, just jump right in, Victoria, to start with you and the announcements, and then we can do the votes on the new constitution and bylaws.
Okay.
Do that, and then we'll see. Then we'll see if we have any visitors to introduce. I know we got Joe here, friend of Eli's, but we'll see if anyone else joins. Do that, and formally introduce Eli and launch into the competition.
Okay, you ready for me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Well, welcome everybody on Zoom and those of us in the room to our actually final competition of the year. And what I'd like to do, what we're going to do at the end of the year, is to make an announcement about our new officers. And so I'd like to start off doing that. We did have nominations for president and vice president. There were no other nominations, so they were unopposed. So I would like to announce that Carl Peschel will be our new president. Carl is currently the webmaster and also the editor and publisher of our newsletter. Okay. And then vice president will be David Besson. And David was recently appointed as co-chair of the program committee. So that will be our president and our vice president. So congratulations. And then also this next year in 2023, we're going to have a new committee. It'll be called the mentoring committee. And so I am going to appoint tonight Gwen as the chair of the newly formed the mentoring committee. So congratulations, Gwen Patton. Okay. So let's just congratulate them. And then also I want to mention that we do have a position that is still open. We need a chair for the competition committee. And I would just like to say, if you take a look at what's required and you feel that you can fill that role, I would love for you to get in contact with me and let me know. I know that Cliff is doing that currently, but he has agreed to mentor anyone who would like to nominate themselves to be chair of that committee. So if you think that's something you'd like to do, please reach out and get in touch, because we would like to get that filled soon. Okay. And with that, I think I was going to turn it over to Gwen because she has an announcement to make.
Okay, let's see if I'm unmuted. Just one last reminder about the annual Christmas dinner, holiday dinner for the club, December 14th at Rice Bistro. We've had pretty good participation so far, so I'm pleased about that. But we could use a few more people. If you haven't signed up and want to join in the fun, just respond to that email that was sent out about a week ago by Carl, and all the information is in there, or you can contact me. December 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Rice Bistro in Aspen Grove. And we have our own private room.
All right. Great. Well, thanks. Thanks, Gwen. Thanks, Victoria. I'll just add one more note on the competition chair. I've done that, this year and prior year with Butch. Anyone who's interested, I have put together a lot of material on it, the process, documented the whole process, what you do at different times and everything like that. So a lot of that's there. And like Victoria said, I'm willing to, help anyone out who's willing to do it, get you up to speed, and if you have any questions or whatever. So not coming into it cold. So just so you know that. Let's go ahead and do the vote on the new constitution. And
yeah, you just pop up each one. Obviously, we give people time to vote. Everybody here on Zoom, they will only be able to vote one time. So we won't get any multiples or anything. And I would ask that the visitors tonight, Joe and Steve, that you refrain from voting, of course, because you're not members yet. Right. And then Bill would need to, get a raise of hands or whatever in the room, and then we'll figure out what the totals are for those. So now each person is going to get that little pop-up with a yes or a no. They just click the box, hit submit, and you'll be able to see the totals.
Carl?
Yes.
We have 6 people in the meeting room here and everybody voted yes.
Thank you.
So at this point, I can end the poll, correct?
If you've gotten everybody, yeah, there should be 17 responses.
Well, it looks to be pretty much near unanimous, so I don't think we're gonna have any.
That's what we need.
So end the poll, correct?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, just launch the other one. Because one was for the Constitution, one was for the bylaws. You launch the one for the bylaws, please?
Here we go with the bylaws.
Carl, we had 6 yes votes for the bylaws also.
Very good, thank you.
Good to have that done. Next thing I want to do is just introduce our visitors. So you got a few people here. So Steve Sorensen, maybe can just, tell us a couple things, if you don't mind. Just, one, how did you find our club? And then secondly, what kind of photography you enjoy doing, and where do you live? What are you in the Denver area?
Hi, and thank you for the opportunity to say hello to everyone. So I am auditing the class. I live in Lone Tree. My specialty is being an eclectic photographer. So I do a lot of travel photography. I've been pretty successful with architecture. My website is earthreflected.com if anyone wants to check it out. But I really appreciate the opportunity to attend and get to know everyone, and thank you for that.
Well, great. Well, thanks for joining. I'm going to ask you a really odd question. You didn't happen to work for Hughes Aircraft many, many years ago, did you?
I did not.
Okay. I worked with the Steve Sorensen there like 35 years ago. So,
Oh my gosh, nope.
you
Nope.
never know.
Thought you found a long lost friend, huh?
Yeah, you didn't look like him, but then I don't look like I did then either. So,
Yeah, things change.
yeah. All right, thanks. And then
My pleasure.
Joe Stanley. So Joe's a friend of Eli's and joining us. So we know that's how you found out about us. So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about your photography and what you like to do.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I am down here in Arkansas visiting with Eli, and we spent the afternoon together. And so he asked me if I'd like to join the club tonight and just kind of observe it. And yes, I'd like to. I know that he's written many books, and I think I've read most of them. He's an amazing guy, and we've been friends about 10 years, and I've taken a couple classes from him, and he's just inspired me so much. And I remember one of the things he said a long time ago, or in one of the books, he says, become an award-winning photographer. And so I tried to do that. And so finally, about 5 years ago, I finally won an award. So I got that down at Tri-Lakes Art Center down in Palmer Lake, Colorado. I'm a Denver native, but I took early retirement about 3 years ago and sold my house, my car, my boat, everything. And I bought a great big RV. And I've been traveling around in that for 3 years now. And I've taken some just awesome photographs. And I try and do something artistic. I try to capture things differently than most people do by just changing the light, the focus, the parameters or whatever. So I try to really capture a piece of art, like it might be a water fountain. And I took it in the middle of the afternoon, but it looks like it's middle of the night because everything is dark. You can't see anything else except for the water fountain because the fountain was right in the sun. Everything else behind it was all dark green evergreens. And I took 1/4000th of a second. And so it just really showed up spectacular. So that's what I try and do. Just take a piece of something that you see and create it in your mind, what you want, and then kind of create it in the camera.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing, Joe.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's all our visitors. I didn't see any others. So we'll
Unless
just
we're sitting in the room.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know if we do or not.
Oh, do we? Do we have anyone visiting there in the room, Bill?
No, we're all current members.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and Eli Vega is our judge this evening. He also judged for the club back in January, so some of you, may remember him from that. But Eli is an award-winning photographer and author. His book Right Brain Photography is in its 4th edition and is available on Amazon. Eli teaches classes, workshops, private lessons, and also does commercial photography for the hospitality, real estate, and restaurant industries. One of his many photography mantras is, the best photography is found where technical know-how and creative aesthetics meet. He says that the biggest compliment he ever received was from a student in one of his 3-day Rocky Mountain National Park workshops, who told him, you know what I really liked about your workshop? You didn't make me feel stupid. So, Eli's current project is his renditions of famous paintings. He spent 2.5 years creating 30 photographic renditions of famous paintings. His renditions cover 6 centuries, from the Mona Lisa to Campbell soup cans, from Leonardo da Vinci to Georgia O'Keeffe. That project is now in book form and available on Amazon. In the book, he talks about what inspired him to tackle such a daunting project, how he found his models, props, costumes, and venues, how he staged and created each of his renditions, and he takes us behind the lens and shares what camera techniques and software applications he used to create each rendition. So Eli, I'll let you add any more words to that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to try to share a few of the images that you had sent along, just to give people an idea on that project that was mentioned there. So.
Thank you. Next year, it's been about 6, maybe 7 years since I've taught any workshops in Rocky Mountain National Park. And next year will be my first time in like 7 years. It'll be July 13th, 14th, and 15th. So stay tuned for that. I'll be doing that workshop, field workshop. The emphasis is creating dynamic landscapes, Rocky Mountain National Park. I also have a monthly newsletter, and my next one goes out this coming Thanksgiving. So if you're interested in receiving my newsletters, feel free to email me and I'll add you to the list.
Okay, thanks. And Carl's put Eli's email in the chat there. So if anyone's interested, shoot Eli a note and he'll add you in. With that, I think we're about ready to go. Bob, are you ready?
Ready.
Okay, so I'll ask everyone if you could mute while we're going through the images. Like usual, I'll pause when we get a handful of 9s and 10 scores, we'll take a break and cycle back and have the photographers for those images say a few words about their photo.
Cliff, can I say just a couple of introductory remarks regarding today's judging? Is that okay? Yeah.
Pardon? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can I say a few remarks before you show the images?
Okay.
First of all, I know you know this, but I think it bears repeating, that all of us who serve as judges, and maybe some of you have served as judge yourself, and you know what I'm going to say here, that art is subjective, photography is art. So everything that's judged comes from a personal perspective. I say that because if you feel that you should have received higher points today, please don't feel bad, because you could probably enter that same identical image in February with another judge and she might give you 10 points. So it is subjective. So just keep that in mind as I go through this. And one more point, the theme is architecture. So I'm going to be looking for lines, shapes, and form. When I think of architecture, I think of lines, shape, and forms. That gives you a little hint as to which direction I might be going with this. Go ahead, Cliff.
Okay. All right, thanks. This person is Musea Dali.
This is interesting. It has very nice geometric forms and shapes. But I think I would like to see more not having been there, I'm not sure what that more would be, but I suspect there was something more or other than just a ball. So I'm gonna go with an 8 on this one.
In living color.
To me, this is more of a cityscape than architecture, although there is architecture in the picture. I think what would made it more like an architectural theme photograph might have been if we extracted something from this scene. Maybe a close-up of those balconies, perhaps. The architecture might jump out more so. So I'll go with an 8 on this one.
Sacred Heart.
I'm pausing because I'm looking for something to move me. It's a beautiful building, beautiful stonework. But okay, I'm looking for architecture. It's a very well done photograph, but the architecture itself doesn't jump out at me. 8. And 8 is good, by the way, on the scale that you use. It's a good score.
Orville's Twilight Days.
To me, it's very well done. I haven't seen an image yet that wasn't well done. So please keep that in mind. This is very well done. However, I'm keeping in mind the theme of architecture. And I think instead of architecture, I see more of buildings and structures rather than architecture. So I'll go with an 8.
Books Inside.
Now this is architecture. Now you know where I'm going with this, right? This is architecture. Having lived in Colorado, I know where this is. It's an extremely well done composition. Very creative. I love the way you worked with the lines, the shapes, the geometry of this. And although it's just dead center, it does create drama with this frame around it, which is, I'm thinking it's the Denver Art Museum. I'm gonna give this a 10, very well done.
Sacred Climb.
I like the building. The slanting lines bother me. I don't think they were slanting like that, so it bothers me. Perhaps through Photoshop, correct that perspective. Or perhaps when you were there, maybe take a different perspective and they wouldn't be leaning like that. Otherwise, technically, it's good. An 8.
Dawning of a New Day.
Okay, if I can interject for just a second, this is Carl. Eli, I just sent you in the chat what our specific definition was for architecture. So if you would please review that and keep that in mind as you're looking at all these images.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that in mind, I think this could have a more contrast than it has. An interesting building. 8.
Abandoned but not forgotten.
This is interesting. As far as architecture, even with your definition, I don't think the trees play that much of a part. And maybe I'm thinking, I'm not having been there, I'm not sure what I would have done, but I'm guessing I could have stood over to the left or to the right and maybe got a little more interesting perspective on this church or, yeah, I guess it's church or house. 8.
Out to Pasture.
Nice colors in the sky. Interesting barn, but it falls a little flat, only in the sense that you put this one right in dead center. I would have played something with the with the grasses, with the weeds, and incorporate that into the composition. But a good strong 8.
Modern airport.
I'm going to give this a 10. Very well done. Love the composition. Usually the rule of thumb, and you've heard this, don't cut a photograph in half. But in this case, it works. It works very effectively. I like the lines, some lines falling toward the left, and the lines that the clouds create falling toward the right. I like that combination. Very well done.
Light and lines.
I think this is another 10. I like what you did with your composition, where you stood to photograph this building, because by doing so, you incorporated so many different shapes and lines and texture and form. It's all there in this beautiful building. 10.
Looking up.
I think the most troublesome piece of this is that pipe, that diagonal pipe. I think it competes for attention from the structure. 8.
Balcony range spout.
I'm looking for a different perspective. This one, the strong pyramid shape, I struggle with. It's a little bit jarring, but technically correct. Technically correct. A strong 8.
Downtown Denver reflection.
I love reflections. I think we all love reflections. I think this one, I like the idea, the concept of capturing reflections. I think it would have been a little more powerful if you would have zoomed in to a portion of these buildings. Perhaps the over on the right, I see those the white and the designs underneath the white. Maybe that against the dark blue, or the white against the brown. That kind of zoomed in, cropped shot might have been stronger. I see something on the left also, like an interesting abstract over on the left. I'll go with an 8 on this one.
Kansas City Railroad Station.
Well, there are a lot of buildings. It's more, even though there's a lot of architecture in the picture, to me, it's more of a picture of a skyline than the others I've seen so far. But well done. 8. You're probably thinking this guy is hard. This guy is tough.
Terminal C.
I like this one. I like this one. I like what you did with the lines, the angles, the pyramid shapes, the triangles, the shadows. There's a lot going on here, all to capture architecture. I'm going to go with a 9 on this one.
Knife edge.
I like the idea of a building and the edge. This one, I think, could use a little more light on the right side of this building, which looks like the Denver Art Museum. But exposure-wise, it could use some help. 8.
Built by hand. Or Cliff Palace.
Yeah. I photographed this myself. Beautiful place, very historic. And yeah, somebody built it, somebody used to live there. So by your definition, yeah, this is architecture. For this one, I think I would have gone ahead and taken this shot and taken another one of the shot with the landscape above it, and yet others, tighter shots. And I think the tighter shots would have had more power, more dramatic. I'm looking at where the ladder is, that area there where the ladder is. I see a lot of interesting stuff there. 8.
White Heron Castle.
Beautiful building. Very nice building. I like what you did with the lighting on this, whether it was there already or whether you did a little Photoshop. In either case, I like the lighting on the building. A 9.
Disney Concert Hall.
I like the structure, the form, the shape in the foreground. It going from left to right doesn't bother me, but the building behind it seems to be tilting. I'm not sure what happened there, whether, I just don't know, whether you needed to change the angle of the camera a little bit. Strong 8.
And we'll stop after this next one and circle back for some of the 9s and 10s. Okay. Rock This Way.
Interesting title, Rock This Way. Interesting. I like what you did with this. You got arches, you got shape, you got form, you got texture. Definitely architecture. Again, nice shadows. Very nicely done. 9.
Okay. Bill or Bob, if we could just circle back to the 9s and 10s. And this is Books Inside, Travis Broxton. I don't know if Travis is on tonight. He had a comment here, just Denver Main Library Tower. So,
This is Oz. I have a question on that picture. It looks like it's a mirror image. Does anyone else see that?
yeah, I think it is. And it's
Okay.
Travis.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. And Joe, this is Modern Airport, Joe Bonita.
This is DIA, of course, and I can't even remember where I took this from, but it struck me that it had a powerful nature to it, even though it's a kind of an odd airport. I mean, I've been in airports around the world, and there's nothing like this anywhere but here. Now, some people would say I cheated, but that's true if you're a purist. The cloud cover, this thing was shot and the sky was nothing but blue. So the cloud cover came from Tasmania, where there was this nice streaking clouds. And so I put it in there.
So just like Travis equals a mirror image, Joe equals a composite image.
Right.
Yep. All right, thanks, Joe. And Light and Lines, this is Susan Hepke.
Yeah, this is the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain, and it's designed by Frank Gehring. And it's made of essentially titanium and glass. And I loved all the different lines, not many straight lines and curves. I found it as a fascinating building.
All right, thanks, Susan. And Terminal C, this is Oz Feniger.
Yeah, this was taken at the airport in Geneva, Switzerland. I finally got to go visit my sister after 4 years, and this took this as we were leaving. And I just really like the architecture here and the patterns. So that's about it.
All right, thanks. White Heron Castle, this is Terry Hanford. Is Terry on? No notes from him there. And then Rock This Way is Lucius Ashby.
Place where we went to in Barcelona. We're just kind of wandering around in Barcelona, Spain.
All right. Thanks. Okay, back to the lineup. This is Notre Dame after the fire.
Wow. I wish you would have photographed it before the fire. I'm just thinking if I were there, if I had gone, oh, wow, oh no, it's burned. I think I would have gone with whatever it was left to give me. I think I would have gone for a close-up of the building in center left. Those shapes, those designs, so that's part of the building. Would have been a much more powerful image. An 8.
Ethel's Beauty Salon.
Art Deco, huh? I love Art Deco. I like it. It's very nice, very nicely done, well done. I like the sky. I'm gonna go with it's a borderline 8 or 9. Just to let you know what I'm thinking, but I'm gonna go with a 9.
Shanghai Skyline.
This is a very interesting composition. Kudos to the photographer to be able to extract some unique buildings from the larger picture. And I think that I always encourage you to do that. There's always a picture within a picture, and this is what this is. Very well done. I like the fact that you have different textures and different colors, all in the same image, and all shouting architecture. 10.
Modern Workplace.
I keep saying maybe zoom in, maybe tighten up, but maybe we went too much on this one. This was too zoomed in. I would like to have seen a little more of what was going on in terms of reflections. 8.
Two Bins.
I'm struggling with this one because I'm looking at a bin and I just want to see more for some reason. What more? I don't know. Not having been there, but it looks like I'm missing something here. 8.
Curved roof with clouds.
I like what you were going for. I kind of know what you were going for here, and the fact that the title tells me what you were going for. That being the case, I think the strongest part of this image is if you crop from the right, or that white from the right, and just leave the middle portion and the building to the left, the roof and the clouds. That would have been very powerful. 8.
Equitable building stairway.
I like the simplicity of this one. You don't have to try too hard to get a great image. Sometimes we try too hard and we get an image that's a little too busy. And this was, I describe this as simply elegant. Very well done. And I like the shadows, by the way. In today's world of HDR, I don't see too many shadows. I like the shadows in this image. 10.
Colonial Williamsburg. Wait. Converging lines.
I like the converging lines. I like the concept, the idea. But I'm not sure from this perspective, we got the most powerful possible image of converging lines. Again, not having been there, I'm not sure what else I could have done, but I would have tried to reposition myself. 8.
Colonial Williamsburg House.
It is definitely architecture, a beautiful historic home. I hope I don't offend the photographer here, but to me, this is a very well done snapshot of the building. I think I would have gone for something a little more interesting. And what I see from here is you see the roof and those two dormers. I think just that alone would have been a very interesting shot. 8.
Now, this one is just for critique, so no score, but just interested in feedback on the image itself.
Okay. Could I have a title?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's City Nightlight.
City Nightlight?
Nightlight.
Okay, City Nightlights. I like it. I love photographing cities, towns at twilight and at night. I love doing that. So you hit a chord with me with that. So I like it a lot. The only thing I would have done, I think, is see that building on the far right? It's leaning to the left because the photographer was aiming his or her camera up toward the building. So that's what happened. And I think I would have done something to either leave it out in the field or somehow crop it out, or perhaps improve the perspective in Photoshop. And by doing so, you would have had just a sliver of that building. But that building on the far right, I call it competition. It competes for attention. So that's the only comment I have on this one. Everything else I really like.
Okay, Eli, if you would, this is Carl. Could you go back there, Bob? Thank you. Just so the maker has some sort of reference, what would you have scored this image? And also for the next image was also submitted for critique, but if you would please give a score just so the maker has some sort of reference. We appreciate your comments too.
Okay, no, that's, sure. I'm going to give you two answers to help the photographer. If I had not seen that building on the right, it would have been a strong 9 or 10. That's how significant that competition is. As it is, I would have given it maybe an 8 or a 9 at the most. That's how important leaving a building like that just kind of dangling there. So just think about that next time. Watch the corners.
And then small church. Again, this is critique.
Okay. For this one, I like the landscape. I like the small church, the building and the cross. And I'm just guessing, not having been there, I am thinking that there must have been an entrance to this building, a door, which would have been on the left-hand side. So I think I would have taken it from that direction. Looking back at the landscape, it would have been similar, but I would have gotten the front portion of the building rather than the backside. 8.
That's all our images. That's all our images tonight. So we'll review the last few high scores there. Ethel's Beauty Salon, that's Gwen Patton.
Yes, this photo is at the Lakewood Heritage Museum. They have brought in a lot of old buildings from the Lakewood area, and this is one of them. It's a great park to visit.
What else is there besides that building?
There's a old, let's see, there's a restaurant, and there is an old gas station that they have not refurbished yet. And I can't really remember
Nice.
what there's like, it's not a lot of buildings, probably about 4 buildings, 3 that are completed maybe, and then the one that is sitting on the grounds, but it has not been restored yet. But these buildings are from the Lakewood area that they have put onto this site and refurbished them.
What era is this building? 1940s? Do you know?
I really don't know the age of it.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the Lakewood Heritage Center?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's just south of the city hall in Lakewood, just off of, just right off Wadsworth. You can actually, if you go up Wadsworth, you can, as you're going towards Belmar and Alameda, you can actually see these buildings off on the left.
Okay. I'll be there in July, so I might check this out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good place to visit. And this was taken a late afternoon, almost dark. I would say it was probably, this was in August, and I took this about 7 o'clock at night, I think.
Great timing. Great timing.
Gwen, this is Oz.
Uh-huh.
Is this just south of Belmar Park?
Belmar Park. Yes, it's right adjacent to all that Belmar Park
Oh,
and that
okay.
lake, those lakes and everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and then this is Shanghai Skyline, Ron Schaller. Ron on?
Yes, I'm in the room here. Just a unique variety of buildings there in Shanghai, and I just kind of focused on the central area. And the tallest one is the Shanghai Tower, and I think it's like the 3rd tallest building in the world right now. It's like over 2,000 feet tall. So just a interesting combination of buildings.
Thanks, Ron. And then Equitable Building Stairway, that's Dave Hull.
Eli, thanks for your comments. Also, thanks for pitching in as a judge last minute. The club certainly appreciates that. So this is one of my favorite buildings downtown Denver. I took this last month. It's at the very corner of 17th and Stout. And you can get inside the lobby. There's a lot of architectural features on the exterior as well as the interior. You can roam around the lobby, check in with the guard, but they're very friendly and very forgiving. You can't go too much upstairs because that's kind of where various offices are and whatever, but it's just a spectacular old building that they've really renovated and kept in very good shape. That's it. I wish I would have had a wide angle lens, but I had what I had. So this is what I got. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
You do the best you can with what you've got, huh?
Yeah, it worked.
So that is it for tonight. So Eli, thanks tonight. Thanks for helping out for the judging and your comments, and thanks to everyone who submitted images this month for the last competition of the year. And I think that is about it. Unless anyone has any final announcements, we're good for the year. And for those of you in Denver going to the dinner, have fun. And have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Great work, everybody. Great work. Keep shooting, keep practicing. Keep your eyes open. Have a great Thanksgiving.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
I enjoyed it.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Eli. I appreciate it.
Thank you.